the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Once you change your philosophy, you change your thought pattern. Once you change your thought pattern, you change your attitude. Once you change your attitude, it changes your behavior pattern. And then you go on into some action.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Those RBIs, which we needed to win the games. And now that he's out, and even if he were to come back, he can't even be in the first playoff series because that's how long he's suspended for. You know, this is very detrimental. So for me, it really hit home. I was like, man, like, what is the deal? Like, why would you do this, you know? And why would you continue to, in order to get caught? And then, you know, not just, you know, so many people put faith in you. You got your fans, you got your teammates, you know, that are all, like, banking on you to do good and to do well. You know, did he really need that much? Because what he was doing anyways in the sport, he wasn't hitting a bunch of home runs. It's not like Barry Bonds or like Giambi or like Jose Canseco. You know what?
Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, Cabrera was getting those base hits.
Yeah.
He was hitting him in the gaps. You know, he would hit the ball sometimes so hard that like shortstop would miss them. Like they would just go right through him. You know, because it was going so fast. But you know, so that's why it brings up like, did he really need to? So we're gonna be talking.
So how old is this player?
You know what? I don't know. I'm gonna look that up right now. That's a very good question.
The reason I bring up this question is because there is a thing with steroid and anabolic steroids and testosterone levels. And so for people that don't know, about the age of 32, your testosterone levels will actually drop. And a regular man is the 1-to-1 ratio.
He's actually 28. He was born in 1984.
So him being an athlete, he should probably already have the testosterone levels of a 3-to-1, which a normal person has a 1-to-1. But athletes, of course, are better fit. They're in tune with their body. They're eating properly. They're training out all the time. So their testosterone levels will actually be higher than a normal person. So a normal person, because they're not a normal person, they're an athlete. So he's just running about 3-to-1 ratio. Him doing the testosterone, he's probably was running like a 10-to-1 or a 12-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, which we kind of talked about on the last podcast. Mm-hmm. So we will get a little bit more into that. I kind of want to talk about the Olympics a little bit first. The Olympics just finished, and the sad part is, I was excited. Well, I didn't watch any of it. I was excited for the Olympics, and I couldn't. I don't know. I felt like they weren't covering it as good.
Yeah,
as they had in the past.
It seemed weird because now what you had is like 8 different or 9 different channels showing it simultaneously. So you had to really pick and choose what you wanted to watch. And I think they've done it before. It just seemed more scattered and not well organized because I remember being on Facebook and people would be like, "When's boxing? What time's the boxing?"
But wasn't it an all-day thing in the past? Like I remember NBC having a 24-hour coverage on it, and it wasn't like that. Right?
I think it stopped like at 10 o'clock at night.
See, and because I clearly remember.
But then they would come back on like a weird hour, like 4 or 5 in the morning or 3 in the morning.
But was it on in the middle of the day? Because I remember kind of turning it on, and it would just not be there. And I would have to go to like their other stations, like CNBC.
Or Univision, or because even the Spanish ones.
Oh, I know Univision.
Yeah, because they had it there too. It was just interesting because like to watch boxing, it wasn't on ESPN or that. It was on MSNBC. So they had them scattered throughout the things, and I think that made it more complicated to find where you were watching it.
Because in the past, I clearly remember sometimes staying up to like 2-3 in the morning just to watch the Olympics.
I remember that.
And like and I don't know why, but I just love the Olympics, like the winter or the summer Olympics. Most of the time, the winter. Like that was the first time I discovered curling.
The last time I seen the Winter Olympics was when Nancy Kerrigan was yelling, "Why?
No way.
Oh why? Oh why?"
That was like in what was that, like 94 or something?
That was the last ones I watched of the Winter Olympics.
Really?
I was never a fan of the Winter Olympics.
Well, you got figure skating. You got speed skating. You never saw Apollo when he was doing all those records? No? Mm-hmm. That was really exciting. That was really and curling. That's what I say, like the curling. I never knew what curling was until I watched the Olympics.
There's a joke somewhere that said that that the only real Olympics are the Summer Olympics because the Winter Olympics are the white Olympics of seeing what white people can do in the snow. That was one of the jokes.
Well, Apollo's Alaskan.
They're never gonna see a Jamaican, figure skater.
Well, maybe not figure skater, but I saw a lot of speed skaters that were like African Americans.
Yeah.
And they would go out there. They were fast. They're fast on the ice just as fast as they are on the track. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. They're just fast.
But I'm just saying certain countries wouldn't have that the luxury of having like a rink or something like that in their areas to go ahead and practice.
So this year, let me ask you something because I don't know that much. This year, do you even know how many medals they ended up winning?
America?
Yeah.
I think it was like 116 or 118, right?
Okay, nah, that's what I'm asking you because I don't know.
I think it was 118. I know we beat China in the end. China was going ahead of us for about 2 days. They were ahead of us.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I think we beat them by like 100. I think it's 118 gold medals.
Wow. And so you watch more of the Olympics, and you said you watched the boxing.
I watched the boxing.
You watched.
I watched boxing, judo, and wrestling. That's all I watched.
I watched men's volleyball.
Nice.
Some of it. I didn't watch all of it. I watched some of it because that was what was on.
Yeah.
And then I watched. I got to see some diving, which I always like seeing anyways. And then I got to see a little bit of the floor routines for gymnastics. I saw the men's. And, I think I was playing a show at Audi's actually, and then it was on, so I just happened to be watching it. I was playing drums actually while I was watching this, and then I was seeing the swimming, and I got to see some of that. But I really like the gymnastics too.
You know what? I do like the gymnastics.
And I missed it.
But like I'm saying, I think the whole thing for me, and like a lot of people would agree with me when we were watching it, is that they're like, oh, the boxing's on. And then you would just see Facebook blow up. What channel is it? Where is it at? Where is this at? I can't find it. Is it on this one? Is it on that one? They did not have a good scheduling or, show, like, even the networks when they were showing them, they didn't, it wasn't scrolled in the bottom, to watch this, go ahead and change to this channel or anything else. There was no real help.
Okay, so you are correct, Missy, because I did, the USA got 104 medals total, and China got 88, so that's what they got total. So the US got 46 gold, 29 silver, and 29 bronze. But did you know this, that if you were to take like all the medals that they typically win at an Olympics and distribute it per capita, like how much people are within that population, the way it gets distributed out, Australia comes number one.
Really?
Yeah, like the amount of medals that they win is a lot because of the population they have. Okay. They actually have
it's a smaller population but a bigger country.
Well, no, so it's a smaller population, and because they win a lot of medals, of course they don't ever win as many as the US, but you have to think how many people do the US have. Yeah. So the US actually ranks like number 9 or something on that. As many medals because they're always the number 1 and taking the medals. Well, at least they have been for the past, I don't know how many Olympics. It's been a while.
Since the Soviet Union wasn't allowed to use anabolic steroids anymore.
I was going to say somewhere around, I want to say like the 60s or the 70s.
I think 80s.
80s? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, but Australia, and the reason why, and I found this out, I was reading like a whole bunch of different articles on this. Oh man, I forgot that magazine. It was in Wired magazine, but they said that Australia, it was in one of the Olympics that did really horrible, really, really bad. The Olympics stands for a lot of people. This is the only time they can, compete nationally. Internationally, sorry. And so the people accused the prime minister of not supporting the Olympics and not supporting their athletes. So the prime minister finally said, okay, then we're going to help this. We're going to work this out. So he put all these grants and all these funds into making this institution. It's like a college for athletes. And it's filled with all the top scientists that they possibly could get to make these athletes into these superb work engines and machines. So they win more medals now, especially for the amount of people that they have in Australia. I had no idea.
Well, they kind of do that here in the United States. They rank the wrestlers and stuff, and as soon as they're in the rankings, they put them in certain camps where all they do is focus on the Olympics, and it might be like 4 years away. Oh, yeah. But they have these people in these camps just focusing and drilling for those.
Well, I know, but still, we know that the U.S. invests a lot of money in athletes. I mean, that's no surprise. We got football, we got baseball, we got basketball, and the way, the amount of money that goes into all of this in the medicine, of course, the cheating. U.S. has to be one of the biggest cheaters out there because they just want to win.
We're not cheating, we're enhancing.
We're enhancing. So we're the biggest enhancers out there, and just the way everything comes together. But, I mean, you would think, like Australia, the way it is, I mean, to me that was surprising when I found that out. And so one of the things that this was going to lead me to is the future of the Olympics. You know, because in the past, okay, so in the beginning you had people, like the first one was like in 1896 or something like that in Athens. You know, and the people just had to be good, naturally good athletes. That's just the way it worked. Okay, and then you get coaches, and the coaches are the ones that made them better and trained them and stuff. And now it's all about the scientists.
Yeah.
It's scientists that you want to go to. You don't want to go to your coach no more. You want to go to the top scientists.
Well, it's weird because I can say MMA is like that now, where you have your coaches and you have your team, right?
Yeah.
But then you also have your nutritionist. Then you have your life coach, or the people that
life coaching.
But the life, it's more of a coach.
Right. She still loves you, man.
Yeah,
she'll come
exactly.
back.
It's like their therapies and everything.
Yeah.
Else. And there's actually therapy for athletes now too.
Oh, okay.
There's a certain what do you call it? Psychiatrists that just study on sports medicine.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of people
part.
They'll have this thing where I can't believe I lost the bronze and I'm going through such hard times. So then they try to refocus them to be in that winning mode, and they have their scientists, they have their nutritionists. It's more of a complex kind of a tier than when before in the days when you would see Rocky, he would just be out there training for boxing and everything else. It's more of a science.
No, it's not more. It is definitely a science now.
And what's his name? Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
They sleep in hyperbaric chambers. They do all this scientific stuff to lower the decompression of their lungs and everything else. It is a science.
Well, in the article that I completely forgot to bring with me today, I can't remember the name of the girl, but they were using her as an example because, they interviewed her, and she has a sponsor with Red Bull, so Red Bull had paid for all these scientists. She had I think it was a dozen out on the field with her, and they had cameras set up because she was a hurdles. She did the hurdles. And, and so they had the cameras set up every, I want to say 8 feet or something. And so the cameras then, when they would make a film, would shoot 1,500 frames per second.
So now we get a 3-dimensional picture of what was going on.
But now you do film.
Yeah.
So can you kind of tell us exactly around how much 1,500 frames per second is?
No, that's a lot of frames. That's that's a high shutter speed.
Okay, so people that are watching this on YouTube right now with your camera.
The one on Ustream, that's a 16 frames per second.
Okay, so the one right now, if you're watching this live on Ustream,
a high definition camera,
16 frames.
A high definition camera like the one we're doing for the one that's going to go on the YouTube. That one's running about 24 frames per second.
24. Okay, this was 1,500 frames when I was reading it, and I was just,
So that shutter's just constantly just flicking. It's not even giving it a chance to.
Well, of course, it's because there's so many cameras too. So it's each one is taking a different picture before the other one even gets a chance to finish.
Well, they
closing.
did that. I don't know if you saw Shark Week on Discovery Channel.
I missed it this week.
And so they had 100 or 150 some cameras in a in a circular thing like that, and they were trying to get a shark to breach and bite and get a first 3D image of the shark biting.
Did they get it?
Yeah, they got it. And I think that was running at a certain frame, 1,500 frames per second.
Well, I remember seeing something like that on Planet Earth. Did you ever see that that series? Okay, and I remember there was a shark, the same thing, and it comes out, and it's super slow. Well, they didn't have the 3D though. Yeah. That's the difference, But it was really, really slow. They shot it, and then they sped it up. It was a half a second that it just comes out of the water and eats whatever it was.
And what's interesting now is they're using these high resolution cameras. So you're actually being able to see scales, dorsal fins and stuff. So you can imagine they probably can break down her cells. They can see her skin, everything that's going on, the certain muscles that are working. And that's probably why they're doing the film, is they're trying to see the muscles and everything else and see if she's stepping off at a wrong angle, if she can arrange or reassess her foot at a certain degree.
Well, right away there was a few pointers and tips that they gave to her. So this is not doping, okay? This is it costs a lot of money though. So it's not like every country can do this. Mm-hmm. So of course there's going to be the people that can invest, like Australia. But one of the things that they pointed out is that when she was landing off of the hurdles, after she would come over one, that it was she was landing too far back on her foot. So they said it was almost like a sprinter putting on the brakes. So she knew, every time I land now, I have to change my foot. So I land on the front so I can be ready to sprint. So they were adding up all the things. They said that this can probably be hundreds of seconds faster now because of what they were teaching her about what was wrong with her body. You know, which is amazing, you know, just with technology.
There was a conversation, I don't remember where I heard it from, but they were talking about Olympians and like people who their competition is not about beating somebody, but it's about fractions of a second or fractions of a millisecond. Yeah. And they said that those are the hardest people on themselves because they would be like, fuck, if I didn't eat that wheat sandwich from Subway, I would have been half a second. If I didn't brush with that toothpaste, they're so about every single little thing that they do in life because they want that millisecond or that second to count in every time they're going.
Man, that's crazy. And that's kind of like I mean, you mentioned earlier, like the whole Rocky thing. But remember, when he fights the Russian, what is that in part...
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, was that part 4?
Part 4.
Part
no,
4.
3.
Is it 3?
Apollo Creed was the first one, right?
Yeah, and then you have Mr. T.
Mr. T.
Is the second.
And then I think it's number 3.
Right? I thought because he fights
Apollo
Apollo again.
Creed dies. Oh, we're talking about this.
No, I'm pretty sure it's 4 because in 3 he fights Apollo Creed again, and then in 4 Apollo dies from the Russian. And then it's 5
where's our
where
Twitter
he fights
friend?
Tommy Gunn.
Where's our Twitter friends at now to help us out?
Yeah, don't worry. Juan usually sends me a text message about this time.
Hold on, let me see. I was thinking about that when we were talking about it because I remember the.
So if you've never seen it, I'm almost positive it's Rocky 4.
And they're juicing him too. Remember?
Yeah.
He's on the Stairmaster and all that shit.
The Russian, and this goes back to when they would make movies. A lot of times, there's always like these underlying messages, and this one actually has to do with the Cold War. So it's the U.S. versus the Cold War, and of course Rocky's training. Legitimately, he's going out there and he's just going into the coldest climates and doing, off the wall stuff.
Which is weird because that film, now a lot of boxers in that will go into higher elevations for training. Yeah. And this was before anybody put 2 and 2 together that, I
don't know if it was before they put 2 and 2 together because I already have found that out, I want to say, at least a decade ago. And I know that they must have known about it even way before that. And the first time I had ever heard about it, and this still goes back into training for the more advanced kind of athlete, is the people that were winning the Boston Marathon. Like they started looking at it and saying who's winning the Boston Marathon, and it was always these people from Kenya.
You are right. It is Rocky 4, and that was made in 1984. Rocky is brought out of retirement to go against the superhuman, extremely undefeatable Soviet boxer who could easily one-man kill, or is known as the one-man killing machine.
Man, I was 2 years old, and I remember that.
I will crush you.
Yeah, I would. 1984?
Yeah.
Wow, I can't. So the first one, of course, is the 70s. That means the second one also was. The third one maybe was like 82 then? Or 81?
I don't remember.
But I remember I've seen all of them.
I remember Rocky 4, the little kid was spoiled and he had like this little robot that was going around in the mansion.
Yeah, it was a horrible robot too. Yeah. Okay, so that's how movies go to...
And Rocky 4 is where his coach dies, right? Or is that the third one?
No, I think that's the third one. Yeah. Mickey.
So this is what I love about podcasts, because we can just completely go off the subject and talk about it. And Sylvester Stallone is in the news right now.
Oh, he is in the news too.
News.
That's right. It is sad news.
But I'd like to give him congrats, because this is the second week that his movie Expendables 2 has been number 1 in the theaters.
They probably feel sorry for him.
And I like it because it's...
Have you seen it?
No, but I like that it's like an homage to old 80s movies that we grew up watching.
I didn't know it was in the theaters or not. I was trying to look up movies today because I was like, I want to see a new movie.
I took the kids to watch Paranorman.
Was it any good?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh, okay. Because it's not playing that much right now. Mm-mm. It's got a few... So anyways, we don't want to get too far off topic. But the Expendables 2 is supposed to be good. I'll let you know if I see it and how it ends up turning out.
I might go watch it because I have 2 days off.
Well, it's not only that. It's got Chuck Norris, it's got Van Damme, and it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And what's the last movie that Chuck Norris came out that was good?
Or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Or even Van Damme. I don't even know.
I don't know. Total Recall. I think after that, there was nothing really.
What are you talking about? He's done other things besides that.
Yeah, but I think that's the best movie that he's made since that time.
No, there has to be something else.
Body of what's that one?
Okay, you go back into doping and talking about the Olympics, and I'm gonna look this up because I know there's something. Because we watched Twins the other day. You know, like Twins with him and Danny DeVito.
That's funny, yeah. A Kindergarten Cop's pretty funny though.
Kindergarten Cop's real funny. What are you talking about?
It's a horrible movie, but it's really funny.
It's a great movie.
It's a guilty pleasure movie.
Maybe it's a tumor. It's not a tumor.
The ferret. That's all I remember for that movie.
Ferret.
So doping in what was we talking about? The Olympics, right?
Yeah, we were talking about in the future of the Olympics and how athletes train. And so you were talking about the high elevation. Okay, so you talk about high elevation and what happens to the athletes, and that'll lead me into doping.
So people have found out that if you go into higher elevations, it helps you. It tires you out a lot more. So especially for boxers, in that they want to feel those tired. They want to get as tired during the fights because that helps them out to go for the longer inning or longer rounds. So they're able to fight at a level where normally where they would be in the fourth or fifth round exhausted, they're already feeling that kind of way in higher elevation. So it's a better training. There's some, I don't know, it's not scientifically proven, but a lot of boxers like Oscar de la Hoya and all those people used to go to Lake Arrowhead, which is probably 30 minutes away from Hollywood, to always train in higher elevations. And boxers or fighters also still do it if they're going to fight in Colorado and that, because Colorado is it's a thin air, so they'll go probably 2 or 3 weeks or even a month before the fight to go ahead and adjust their bodies to fight at that higher elevation. If you ever seen heavyweights fight at a higher elevation, it is the worst fights you ever see because they're already tired out in the first round.
There's another reason why they do that, and I'll talk about that right now. But after so he did Twins before Total Recall. Okay. Twins was 1988. Total Recall was 1990. Kindergarten Cop was the same year, 1990. And then you have Terminator 2 that comes out after Total Recall. That's a good one. You get, let's see, True Lies. Did you not like True Lies?
I didn't like True Lies.
Really? Because that's a good. I thought that was a good movie. And I think that's where it stops.
There's a bunch of movies I'm like, then that's where it's.
I know. I'm not gonna say. I did not say any of these. The Expendables, but
yeah, the first Expendables was kind of cheesy. Was way too hokey for me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still gonna be okay.
Well, it got good ratings though.
Yeah, it did. Well, because it reminded everybody.
Yeah, I mean, all it was missing, and unfortunately he's passed away, was Charles Bronson. They would have been able to bring Charles Bronson into that mix. It probably would have been.
That's right. No, but Charles Bronson wasn't a fighter. He had carried around a big gun like Dirty Harry. I mean, that would be like getting Clint Eastwood in there.
Yeah, but what's his name? The black guy really doesn't do any action movies either. He was more known as the guy with the big gun. Terry Norris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what, Arnold's the best.
Yeah.
You can't deny that. Arnold rules.
Arnold knows how to promote himself and do it very wisely.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's very good. Okay, so the other reason why people like to go to high elevations, and this is the whole reason why the Boston Marathon runners, the first time I ever heard that, was that Kenyans would always win, is because your body knows when it needs more oxygen, right? And you're at high elevation.
It's depleting, yeah.
So what your body naturally wants to do is create more red blood cells, because red blood cells, of course, have hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is one of the things that help to carry oxygen, to your lungs and to your muscles.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was trying to say about heavyweights. That it's the worst thing to do because these people are super bulked up, so all this red blood cells is pumping through this huge body, and it's going to tire out a lot faster than somebody who was thinner.
Okay, so now this goes into something that I just figured out of another new way of cheating. Well, it's not a new way, but I just discovered it, so to me it's new. So I thought that this was kind of crazy. Okay, so we've been talking about steroids for a while, and that's kind of what I think almost everybody, they find out, oh, so-and-so is cheating, it's got to be steroids. Well, it's not just steroids now anymore, One of the ones, and I don't know how long they've been doing this, I guess it says that it became easier in 1989. This one trips me out. It's blood doping. Mm-hmm. They do blood transfusions.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what they'll do is they do either one of two things. One is they get, of course, blood transfusion, the way somebody who's actually has a loss of blood. But of course they don't. They're athletes, and they get somebody else's blood and pump it into themselves. So now they have an increase of blood, so they have more red blood cells to carry more oxygen. So this way they can, have more stamina for endurance.
Mm.
Another thing they do is they'll actually get blood taken out of them, so this way they can't get caught as easy. It's harder to catch them. They take their own blood out, they store it, and then when they're about to compete, they put their own blood back into them.
I know that this is an issue with the blood doping. It's more of an issue with fighting, like boxing and that. And the reason that they're always cautious too, because for people that don't know about boxing and any contact sport, is you have to lose. A lot of those people don't fight in that original weight.
Yeah.
So they're fighting at a lighter weight than what they actually are. So they'll starve themselves and everything else. And so after the weigh-ins, they'll go eat a big meal and then gain that weight that they were originally back. But a lot of people, what they'll do is go on to an IV diet that day to go get rehydrated. But a lot of people, what they do that at that time is since they have the IV already set up, they'll go ahead and start putting in their own pints of blood. And that's where it mostly got noticed first, was in boxing, the blood doping.
Okay, so it says that in the beginning that it was really hard for them to it was hard for people to do it. It became easier because in 1989 they approved a new kind of medical treatment for anemia, because of course those are people that are deficient within like their red blood cells and stuff. So it was the erythropoietin, which is I'll just call it EPO. You can look it up. It's EPO. EPO is now where it helps to reproduce more red blood cells, and that's how they end up doing. Even though you say boxers and stuff, but in the Olympics, it's almost anyone who has to do anything that's endurance. And the whole reason why this person wrote the article is because of one person named Tyler Hamilton, who was in the 2004 Tour of Spain and 2004 Athens Olympics, and he got caught blood doping. And he was, of course, denying it, and finally he was like, okay, you know what, I admit it. I did it. Because the new test that they always come out with, in that test, they found out that they can catch other people's.
Yeah.
So right now they're currently working on tests to find their own blood though. Like, how can they're like, all right, we need to distinguish.
Find an abnormality of red blood cells in a certain person.
Well, and this is another way of the testing, because, you want to cheat to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah.
And so the testers are now like, hey, we need to figure this out. So the two people that test most of the time, at least here in the U.S., you got the USADA, which you're talking about. There's the United States Anti-Doping Agency. And then you got WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency. Well, one of the new ways that they're trying to start implementing testing is what they call passports. It's a physiology passport. So what it is it says everything about you, about your muscle mass, and about how you're supposed to be built, and so it already knows about you. So if you have an increase in muscle mass over a certain period of time, they're going to analyze it and say, wait a second, this is not normal, because we already know how much testosterone you have and how much you have had, and we've been testing you so much, and we already know about your body. So this is not supposed to be happening. So now something else is in the mix. So this is one of the things that they're working on. So every single athlete who wants to train for the Olympics and be in it has to do that. And it's sad because, and you can't just say a few people, because there's a lot of people in the Olympics that are doing it. But the ones that don't do it, it's horrible, because now they have to get subjugated to the same stuff. But then you do have people that don't really, they don't mind. Like there's let's see if I can find the name real quick. Her name was Trotter, and let's see, Dee Trotter, and she is actually part of a foundation called Test Me I'm Clean, and she wears a white wristband, and any athlete who wears that says basically, test me, you can test me anytime, I don't care.
There's a fighter named Roy McDonald that was supposed to fight BJ Penn. Roy McDonald got a cut or a huge laceration, so they had to postpone the fight. But they did sign a thing, I don't know if it's with this one, but they would wear the white thing where they were trying to prove a point that they weren't doping like everybody else, because a lot of steroid issues have been happening through the UFC. So this company was paying all the money for the testing and everything else, and so they were trying to show an example that, and not every fighter is doing steroids or anything like that.
Yeah. And
so they would allow them to be, basically anytime they called them, anytime they wanted to go, they would get tested, no questions asked.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's kind of like how the program ends up coming out. So that's one way now. So we talked about steroids, we talked about blood doping. Another way is hormones. Of course, like the human growth hormone. These are hormones that occur naturally inside your body. And so you can get like insulin. Insulin is actually something that's popular too.
Yeah.
People actually...
The diabetics use it because they don't have enough insulin. And so what the insulin is it's breaking down... It helps your pancreas and that to break down food. Because diabetics don't have that.
Yeah.
And so the sugar starts retaining. And so the sugars will go extremely low or extremely high.
So how would it help, you think, like an athlete?
An athlete, you're having a normal pancreas that's working twice as hard, so it's breaking down the sugars and everything else, and your digestion a lot faster. So you're actually metabolizing a lot faster than a normal.
So you're also getting more energy then? Mm-hmm. Okay. And not only that, but the human growth hormone, which we've already talked about, is also a hormone.
But
so that's
you can die. You can die from having too much insulin.
It says right there, in the wrong dose, it can kill. It was a sprinter and the 3-time Olympic medalist Alvin Harrison was suspended for 4 years in 2004 after he admitted using 6 performance-enhancing, drugs, and which included the insulin and the human growth hormone. But he got to keep the Olympic medals that he won before he got caught before he admitted, because he admitted, hey, I have been using this, but I didn't use it back then. I won those medals legitimately. So he came out and said it. Another one, and we talked about this a little before the podcast started, was the asthma medications.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know. All this stuff kind of sounds weird.
What people don't know is asthma medication actually has a steroid in it. That's what makes your lungs expand and get bigger, and it makes your lungs is a giant muscle.
Yeah.
So it's opening those muscles and it's constricting, and it's doing the same thing with like for a cyclist or a swimmer. They were using asthma medication. Their lungs are way more expanded than a normal other person's would be. And
of course, during Summer Olympics, that's what's going on. Is you got cyclists and you got swimmers, and that's where it's a huge deal. This is where it comes into play. You had a guy named David Klinger who's banned lifetime from cycling because he was at the end of his 2-year ban already for using testosterone. They caught him. He was out of competition. Mm-hmm. But when you're an athlete like this, they can test you anytime they want. Because if you say you're going to be in the Olympics, you basically sign a waiver saying you can test me anytime. Mm-hmm. And so you have to give them your information. They know where you're at 24/7. And they do it on purpose because it's supposed to be a surprise. That's the whole thing. It's like a surprise drug test at work. Yeah, it's random. You have no idea. So they caught him. So, I don't know. If he loves cycling that much, wouldn't you want to not do it? He's banned for life. He can only do it for fun now. He can never do it for sport.
I think he has that mentality of that edge in his mind where he was thinking he was always at an edge, and it's a compulsion. It's like once they start cheating, I don't think they can ever go back to not cheating.
Well, I don't know if we've already mentioned it right now on the podcast because we were talking about it earlier, but Lance Armstrong has been in the news.
Lance Armstrong
he's a cyclist.
Got his titles completely taken away from him.
He has 6
for life. Yeah.
Is that how many he had already?
7.
7?
7 Tour de France's, right?
7 Tour de France's, all taken away.
All taken away, and then he didn't want to fight it. But see, the thing that I didn't talk to you about Lance Armstrong, and I'll bring it up right now, is it's interesting that he had cancer.
I know.
And he went through therapy, so it means that at one time he was using testosterone. Yeah, legitimately.
Because he has testicular cancer.
And so they were giving it. They had to give him testosterone.
Oh yeah.
If not, he would have been sick. But
I said the same thing. I go, you know what? This guy deserves the testosterone, if anything, because you know he's
like once again, they were trying to bring him back to normal levels.
Yeah.
So where they probably caught him, or with the allegations is that he wasn't at a normal level at certain times. Yeah. And what could also be happening is that he could have lied in his documents because, like you said, they're gonna want all the information, and for him to start testosterone therapy, he actually has to apply for it. And then the doctors have to be certified and have to get the okay to go ahead and start it. So maybe he was doing it illegally, where they didn't get the application, they didn't get anything else, and he was starting to take it. And him being an athlete, he should have known better, because he had to apply for that testosterone therapy.
Yeah, and but that again, that's one of those things that's really sad. Because
but he can use it. He can use it for his advantage, though.
But he won some Tour de France's before he had cancer, correct? Isn't that how I remember his story? Mm-hmm. And then he had cancer, And then people were like, "Oh man, that's so sad." You know, he was a great cyclist, and then he
The
was
Live Strong
recuperating.
whole bullshit with
Yeah,
the
and that's
yellow.
how they started up. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then of course that's the other question now: are people going to want to stop donating to his charity?
I don't think so.
Because he can't. He's banned lifetime now. He can't cycle no more.
I don't know.
You know, the weird part was, my friends were telling me, and I didn't know this, but you know, Nike's standing behind him because
Yeah.
you know he has a bunch of endorsements.
Well,
and
the
that's
thing
one of
is,
them.
like
But Nike wouldn't stand behind Tiger Woods.
that's different though.
He had an
He
affair.
didn't, yeah, and it wasn't like with one person. He had multiple hookers.
Well,
and everything
but
else.
come on. I mean, we're in the United States. I mean, we know that we have a really high divorce rate. You know,
Yeah,
and
but,
infidelity is. I mean, look at our
but it
president.
wasn't like an infidelity. It was an
You had Bill
infidelity on
Clinton.
top of an infidelity on top
Yeah,
of
you had Bill Clinton in
and
the White
Jennifer
House.
Flowers
you know,
and
doing the
Monica
whole.
Lewinsky.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they weren't at the same time. That's the big difference.
but we don't know that.
Tiger Woods was at the same time. They were different rotations. Bill Clinton did one in one time and then the other one. And he was smooth for maybe there was someone in the middle, but we never knew about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it still just seems.
And who says he didn't have that many? I mean, Bill Clinton lived in the age that their cell phones were still not used as they're used now.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't track him.
Yeah, they couldn't track them. And Tiger Woods, they had emails, they had everything, they had text messages. Times have changed.
Yeah.
But Lance Armstrong, Nike should support him. Like they said, they accused him, but he never came out, like we were saying, that he never came out as positive for it. It was more an accusation and an investigation. And like he said, he stopped, he gave up because he said it was a damn witch hunt on his head.
Yeah, you know, but that's what I mean. Like, you know, it's the way everything kind of just stands. You know, as far as it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
You know, with the steroids, and I mean, you have all these things kind of going wrong. So okay, so we talked about asthma, and that's the cyclist, and that's why I mentioned that because, of course, like you said, there's some steroids, of course, in there too to help with the breathing and stuff. And I think that's just, you know, strange on its own. Then you got hormone antagonists or modulators. Now, what that is when you're taking a lot of testosterone, what your body naturally wants to do is offset it by producing a lot of estrogen. And that's when you hear the whole stories of guys who do testosterone and they develop breasts and they, you know, they even start to leak, you know, because of the way everything is like, you know, coming out. All right, so what they end up doing is they have to take the hormone modulators to offset that, so they don't end up with a whole bunch of estrogen. So this way their body can be okay and it won't be overdone. Yeah, bitch tits. That's exactly what they are.
Hey,
They're bitch
George,
tits.
hey, Juan, I saw your text messages on this one.
So those are the bitch tits, is what they call them in the bodybuilding world, and you don't want that. So that's when you take the modulators, so this way it can ease off the estrogen, and this way it would be.
So they cycle off. They're cycling from testosterone to estrogen to cycle off to have a normal.
Yeah, the actual Mitch Comorado is one of the ones that got caught. He got 2-year suspension in 2009. The drug is actually tamoxifen, and that stops estrogen. It actually blocks the estrogen from your body.
Estrogen blocker.
It's an estrogen blocker. That's right. If we can only put that in a. No,
So,
I'm going to say that. That's a bad. There's like a bad sexist joke on that somewhere.
So we'll go ahead and go. We'll talk about that. Strikeforce fighter Christina Cyborg was found with testosterone, not estrogen.
That's right.
And they found large amounts of testosterone. And for people that don't know this, and I'm going to bring an interesting thing, is when females start taking testosterone, because they'll take it for replacement when they do transgenders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's kids watching this, but your clitoris actually gets harder and starts forming like a mini penis.
So she had a mini penis.
So she had a mini penis, and it's weird that your body starts tricking itself to thinking it's a guy and actually wants to start kind of growing a unit. So she wasn't cycling off estrogen or anything. She was just straight taking man hormones. And they're thinking that a lot of her facial physique, because I've seen pictures of before and after, she looks like a guy now.
Oh yeah. You showed me pictures before.
Yeah,
she does. She looks really scary.
Those are permanent. There's some stuff from the hormone replacement that won't go away after you're done.
So she's always gonna look like a guy.
She's probably gonna always look like a guy. It's an unknown science. You know, this is a brand new science, of testosterone and that. So we don't know the implications. We don't know what's gonna happen to these people later on in the future. I mean, there's always been that theory. Oh, they're gonna grow old and their bones, and you've heard the old stuff.
Oh yeah.
But we don't know that. I mean, we're barely getting into that time frame where we're actually going to start seeing how the body processes it after years and years of abusing it.
Yeah, which is that's one of those things that just sounds really crazy or yeah. So they were saying a whole bunch of things on our stuff here. Man, we got 7 people.
Does it show it on here or what?
No, it didn't show on here, so that's why I looked it up right here. Sorry about that. I just got sidetracked by some of the comments.
I want you to go ahead and read some of the comments and see what they're saying. Text.
So, did you get it right? Oh no, I thought Hector figured it out. So another one is, of course, experimental substances. Cheaters are always trying to stay ahead of the testers, like I said. So one of the new things that they're trying to work on, and it's it's sad because this is a track coach that gives it to minors and stuff. He gives drugs to kids, and he's already got caught. And one of the things that he got caught for, he's a German track coach. His name's Thomas Spriegstein. He was trying to get repo oxygen. Remember, and I talked to you a little bit about this before. So this is gene doping. So what it does is it alters your genes. So it will be harder to detect because now they actually have to know how your genes were before. It's like they have to know about your DNA.
So they have to now probably in the future they're going to have to test your DNA beforehand.
Yes.
And then keep that in record and then constantly once there's a major competition, go ahead and check your genetic structure again.
Yeah, they'll have to do that because with the new stuff that's going to be coming out, it's going to alter your genes and basically it's going to tell your body, like if you want more, and we talked about the whole red blood cells and that the EPO and the hormone that you can already take for that, you're going to tell your body, I need this. So it's going to alter the gene so it can tweak it, and this way you can always be producing more red blood cells than an average person. But they're not going to find traces of hormones being put into you because your body's doing it.
So you're becoming the ultimate athlete, basically.
Yeah, and of course this
isn't that what we want, though? Don't we want ultimate athletes?
To me, when I read about this, like I thought of Gattaca. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought of. And how like you can eventually in the future they always say that you're going to be able to pick like if there's problems in your family, like that there's a high what is it like blood disease factor and diabetes, you're going to take all that out. Yeah. And then of course in the end it's like, well, if you can put the good stuff, then put the good stuff in my kid too. I want to make sure he's the healthiest person.
Let's make him get some green eyes as well, and let's go ahead and
fix
that bump that everybody else has on that nose. Let's go ahead and fix that and take that genetic structure out.
And his IQ, let's bump it up another 20, 40 points. Let's make sure he's almost about that genius level. Not genius, I don't want him being smarter than me, but so but it's scary about like all the things that plays into.
Yeah.
Now, of course, doing experimental substances kind of leads into the stuff that like we're talking about Barry Bonds and them, what they were doing. So what they were doing, this was a big old case back in, I want to say it's like 2005 that it came out with the FBI, was they were doing a steroid called the Clear. Yeah, give him a third leg too so he can run a little bit faster. These are
tripod.
Yeah, these are comments that we're getting. So I mean, if give me a distracted third leg. Why not just put 4, make him a horse, and make him run out there? But so they were doing this thing called the Clear. So it was steroids, but it was unknown at the time. So you had all these Major League Baseball players taking this thing, and they were not all of them, but you had a lot of them taking
fucking swinging home runs like left and right.
Yeah, man, you go out there and you see these guys, and they're all juiced up, but you can't tell they're juiced up, and they're testing them. Testing them, and they're like, hey, nothing's coming up. Something's going on here. So the Balco case actually comes from the Bay Area Laboratory that's what I believe it stands for, Balco. Okay, so it's this company that this guy started. He started it way back in the 1980s with his wife. She ends up getting divorced, with him. He still keeps in business, but all he's doing is doing like the vitamin supplements, things like that, like Shroom Tech, things like that, like just simple things. But then towards the 80s, he starts getting... the late 90s, he finds a chemist that can actually make him all this illegal kind of like steroid stuff. So he still has all his vitamins and his, nutrition stuff that he's just like putting out there. But then he gets this, this really good stuff, and now he's pushing.
He has the stuff in the back door.
He has the stuff in the back door. You walk all the way to the back, you open the curtains up, where you tell the kids, no, you can't go back here.
Password.
This is secret stuff in the back.
They're like,
you stay in the.
Conseco sent me.
You stay in the front with your mom.
Yeah.
No, and so they're he has all this stuff, and then he has a guy that's out there actually, like a trainer and like a coach, and he's the one who's pushing the stuff for him.
Oh, that's great.
So he's the one who's going up to it. Hey, you know what? I got this stuff. I'm pretty sure it'll help you out. This is gonna work great. Don't worry. Yeah, it's totally legal. It's totally legal. Look at who we got. I'm getting it from this certified company. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't believe me? Look at, there's no stories about it. Nobody's ever been caught with it. So they decide, hey, what the heck? Let me try it. And so then they start taking it. Eventually, now the thing is that when people keep samples, like especially for the Olympics, they can keep it up for 8 years. Mm-hmm. The reason they keep it for 8 years is because if they think that you might have been, if they suspect you of cheating, but they have no test, they'll eventually find tests for you, so this way, like if in 8 years, they're hoping that that's how they can do it. And that's actually what happened. Let's see if I can find the dude who got caught with that, because there was someone who got caught with that one too. And that's how I discovered the whole the Balco case and the clear thing. And I was like, man, like these people are they're just out there left and right, like it's just kind of crazy. So you got the future of athletes doing all these things that we talked about, and their chambers and motion cameras that are 1,500 frames per second. Then you got all these drugs. The whole world of athleticism has just changed.
Yeah, it's changed completely from back in the days when you could do a couple squats and stuff like that.
Squats.
Like young.
They don't even know what squats are anymore. I don't even think they do squats.
All of a sudden they're just like
they do tire lifts or something.
Yeah, they tire lifts and sledgehammers and just fucking big old battle ropes and shit like that. It's very interesting. But what's interesting too is you're starting to see a lot of people, older people, still competing on a major level with younger people. And that has to do with a lot of the whole nutrition and science and everything else that goes around it.
Well, there's a lot of money in this. There's a lot of money, involved in all of this. Look at WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency, has spent more than $54 million to date to predict and prepare for new drugs that might enhance.
That's just predicting.
Over $54 million, man. I couldn't, there's a lot of money involved in this. This is a pharmaceutical. This is as big as Viagra. There's millions and millions of dollars and billions that, that just kind of get thrown around. Not only that, but let's say you are an athlete and you want to take this drug. Well, it's illegal. So where do you got to get it? The black market.
And there's been videos that show the black market and people making it. And I think the most infamous one, there's this guy that's making anabolic steroids in his house, right? And the footage they got was the SWAT team's footage of them coming in there. And he has all these cookers and everything else. But what you don't see is there's piles and piles of cat shit. He was like a fucking hoarder. And he's making the drugs that are supposed to be synthetic and sterile right next to all this amount of fucking cat shit and everything else, and cats running around the house. So you don't even know where you're getting it from.
So, all right. So you said that isn't this what we want? So do we want a better athlete like this?
I want a better athlete, but I don't want them to be endangering themselves to become that better athlete.
Because originally in the Olympics, drugs were allowed.
Were they?
Yeah. In fact, you had Greeks that were ingesting special drinks and potions to give them an edge at the 1904.
I like that word, potions.
This was also 1904. We don't know what they were drinking in 1904.
Check
the
that
1904 means. Yeah, and they were also doing like cocaine, heroin.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug, especially in the Olympics. And strychnine.
I wonder if they did crystal meth in the Olympics.
They probably did. I bet you they did in the 1940s, because remember they used that in World War II.
Yeah.
Crystal meth, and that's where it originally got started. And drugs were not banned until 1968.
Well, performance enhancement drugs can be considered as well as alcohols and caffeine. If you they'll test you for a certain amount of levels of caffeine before you start any kind of sport as part of the thing. They want to check your caffeine levels because they say that's a drug as well.
Yeah, they do. But see, that's why I say, so in 1968 is when they finally started testing. And the reason why they did that, and that goes to your if they were doing crystal meth, there was, in 1960, there was a Danish cyclist named Nut Jensen.
He went out for fucking hours.
No, he died. he passed out during a race and cracked his skull, and he died. And they blamed it on amphetamines.
Oh.
He was on amphetamines. They tested him, so they knew. So originally, the reason why they started testing people was because they said, look, athletes want to do the best. They're willing to take almost anything. What they're doing is they're pushing their body to the limits of where they're going to end up dying. You know, we got to stop this. It wasn't an integrity thing or, hey, you know what, this isn't right. That came later. That came eventually. Like, it's like they formed an ethics committee and they started finally getting some sort of thing down. But before that, they were like, hey, man, they want to shoot up. Let them shoot up. Take whatever they want. So that's originally how it was. It wasn't until a lot later where they started to change that. You know, and so I thought that was really interesting.
Did you hear that?
What is that?
The train is coming.
Is that a train?
Yeah, it's a train.
Sounds like the kukui. I don't know if you can hear this on Ustream, but there is a train.
There's a train coming. No, they can hear it because the mics are set up on the Ustream as well.
Okay. Well, I know that you'll be able to hear it on the podcast. Definitely. But the Ustream, I'm not sure if it's as good. So, is there anything you would like to add on your... Are we going to Skype? I forgot to mention we're going to Skype or not.
Yeah.
Cristobal should be...
Oh yeah, there he is. He's typing me right now.
So
just a moment, we do have a second segment for this.
So we do have a special guest. I guess I'll keep on talking with some filler. We have been trying to do some more projects. We do have something coming up with Screaming Rebels podcast. Our 1 year anniversary is actually next month, which we almost can't believe. And so we will be trying to do something in October for that, which sounds... Because, I mean, we want to plan ahead. And we found a really great friend who's helping us out a lot. So I just want to give a shout out to him. Zach?
Yes.
Do you know his last name? Rodriguez or no?
I think so.
Okay, I think it's Zach Rodriguez. And he's actually from Pro Wings. So if you haven't heard them, it's a band called Pro Wings from Hanford. And they're really good. So check them out anyways. Not just because he's been working with us and he's a great guy, but because they're really good band. And
the person that we're going to have on the phone, we're going to Skype him right now, is Cristobal Carrillo. And Cristobal was one of the first people that was one of the people that liked us and supported us from the beginning.
He's been on the podcast before.
Has he?
Yeah, remember we did the Werebear.
We did with the Werebear, and he was our first podcast guest.
Yeah.
So he has this special festival, and he's going to go ahead and talk to us about it. So
he's got a festival.
Yeah, festival, right?
Is it called the Sea Balls Fest? Is that called the Sea Balls Festival?
Let's find out what it's called. We're going to call him right now.
He's literally calling him.
Oh, it ended.
He hung up on you. This is... Maybe you should Skype him later and add this onto the podcast.
Nah.
Oh, he's calling you back.
Do you want video or do you want audio?
You should hang up on him now. You can do audio. Video? Okay, video.
Hello?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I thought you did video.
I know he decided not to do the video. He can watch us.
No, I'm trying to. There you go. Oh, your video was turned off. Hold on.
All right.
Now I'm back. I'll be on a little bit. There I am. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey.
So, why don't you go ahead and tell us about this festival that you're having and dates and everything else as well.
Sure. Okay, so I'm the organizer of the Sea Balls Fest.
Sea Balls Fest? Okay, Sea Balls Fest.
Anyway. So I, along with my friend Israel Flores, help organize the Spanspek Music and Arts Festival. It's a annual event that's held in Cutler, Rossi since about 2006, and it's meant to feature local music and art.
Where is Israel?
Israel's over in Mexico right now. He's been there for a few years.
Okay.
Is it really?
No, he is.
All right.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like an inside joke or something.
I didn't know because I didn't know that Israel helped him start it. Actually, I didn't know that part.
Yeah, he's actually the guy who had the idea, and he kind of just brought me along to help out.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I know he's a huge music fan, and I mean, even though he's in Mexico, he's always supporting local music.
Well, no, yeah, because
He
still
is.
here for the longest time. He just left a few years ago, but he's still very involved with the festival and with music here in general.
I almost feel like the way you say it, like as if he's dead, and it's like but he's here with us in spirit.
Israel is a ghost. I forgot to mention that.
From Mexico. Or his spirit is in Mexico.
His spirit is in Mexico with Dia de los Muertos and all that.
Drinking
Yeah.
some cervezas.
So he has a sugar skull
Sugar skull.
sugar skull over there. It says Israel. So when is Spanspek? When is it?
This year, Spanspek is going to be on Friday, September 28th, over at the Orosi Memorial Hall. It starts at 5:30. It's about $5, and it's going to have a lot of good bands, a lot of good artists.
Yeah, I'll say $5 is cheap because you're having a lot of bands. It's not like you're having 4.
How many is the
6.
total bands that you guys are having?
There'll be 7 bands total and about, I'd say, 10 to 15 artists. So it's actually pretty good bang for your buck.
Yeah, that's like maybe. I mean, if you add it all up, it's like a quarter for each artist that you have out there.
That's correct.
You give him a quarter.
That's the right math. I don't think that's the right math, but that is good. Close
Yeah,
enough.
I'm gonna say. Well, I'll give you. I only want to check out a few bands. I'm gonna give you like $2.
Okay.
I can't do that. No.
No.
Yeah,
He
so-
escorted off the premises. Get this crazy guy out of here. He's trying to pay with $2 worth of pork.
Well, but that's what Mexicans do, don't they? They kind of like haggle with each other.
I didn't know this was racist screaming podcast.
So we can't go over there and say, we're just want to see this particular band. How much is it going to cost?
No, you're going to be kicked to the curb. I didn't know you guys were such cheapskates.
I'm not being a cheapskate. I'm trying to help him out.
Wait,
'cause
I
guess
wanna-
he only wants to pay $1.
no, no,
so-
no.
Let him go on his own. You don't
Wait,
get involved with that.
I'm one of the bands in there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, are you charging the bands?
No, man. In fact, you get a guess. Each of you get a guess.
Oh, I get a. Okay, so I get a guess. So you'll be my guest, I
For
guess.
people who don't know, George played drums in Sci-Fi Caper, was one of the bands featured in this festival this year.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're excited, as well as your band. Your band will be there, and we've had you on the podcast, Werebear.
Yeah. Hector, you forgot.
You were the
live
first
feed
ones.
from
That's
my house.
right.
No, and I just saw Werebear recently. They have new material.
Oh, you guys do?
Yes.
Just 2 songs,
Well, hey, you know what though? For local bands, sometimes 2 songs can matter in a set list. You hear.
That's very true.
Yeah, you hear the same set list over and over. You play one new song, it's like, hey, I never heard that song. Is that a new song?
Everyone turns around like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like, wow. And it sounds like you have a brand new set list. Like, like, man, I've never heard them before.
So do you like throwing people off and just starting with that new song and kind of throw them off the loop?
No.
No. My philosophy is to slowly make them comfortable and then hit them with an unfamiliar song. That's my philosophy.
And you've also changed your setup a little bit, so that might be a little interesting. Are you going to be using the keyboard there or no?
For Spanspek?
Yes.
Yeah, the idea is to actually have 2 amps so we can make a little more, smoother transition from instrument to instrument.
Okay, because Werebear is one of the bands that I like because they use the keyboard. You rarely see that, and the way he uses it, he doesn't use it like
if you guys
he's
don't
sexy.
know, if you guys haven't seen him, it's probably one of the
Hold on,
best things
can
to
I
watch.
just bring attention that he just said it's a sexy C-ball keyboard playing?
Yes, that is.
What is that for?
It's hardcore. It's hardcore sea balls.
No, it's sexy.
Sexy. Oh, sexy sea balls. So
It's
it's
sea balls.
So, but we are excited for Spanspek. That is September 28th.
Yeah.
It starts early too. It starts 5 o'clock.
5:30.
Oh, 5:30. Okay, but where's Orosi at? Where is this place?
Orosi is...
Where is Middle Earth
What is
at?
it? It's in between Fresno and Massilia. It's off the 99. It's a small farming community. And there's not really a lot of music opportunities, which is there in the first place, which is why we started the festival.
Is it in between Fresno and Visalia?
It's closer to Massilia if you want to get really technical about it.
No, I'm not trying to get to. What I'm trying to do is because I mean, I've gone
You want
to.
me to give you latitude and longitude?
To Google it right
Yeah,
now.
I could Google Map this. No, what is because our Google Earth it. I mean, but I get lost all the time when I go to my city. And every
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess my city makes
The last time he called, he was heading back to Hanford. He didn't even know it.
I was going to Hanford and I didn't know. So
Yeah. Oh no, yeah. All right, here I'll give you definitive directions to roast you. So, south on the 99,
south on 99,
exit Mountain View.
Mountain View, but not to San Francisco Mountain View.
Not to San Francisco.
Okay, you're just going to confuse the people, George.
First of all, you're going south on the 99. It's over in San Francisco. I don't know how the fuck you got there, but you're doing something wrong.
Hey, I get lost all the time.
Okay, well you shouldn't, because this is literally just an L. You're just gonna go to an L. 99
Okay.
south, west on the Mountain View, and that's literally it. Then you're gonna hit a Rosie.
Okay.
East.
East. I was saying.
East Mountain View.
That's how I ended up in Hanford, because I went
That's
west.
right, I ended up in Hanford. That's true.
Okay, alright.
And that's it. Then you're in a Rosie.
Okay.
All right, that sounds good.
Nope. You follow your ear to the music.
Okay, so, and we will be talking about it in a future podcast to make
Oh,
sure
really?
that people know. And I think we want to, are we going to do anything on Spanspek ourselves? Are we going to go and cover it?
I don't know. I haven't talked to.
Oh, we need to talk to okay. Sorry.
On the street is you guys want to do guerrilla filming of the festival.
Yes, that is the word.
That is my favorite kind of style, since I am half Sasquatch. Is to do some guerrilla filming.
No, that'd be good. I think that's a good idea. Usually we try to get people to film the festival, and it's never really worked out. So if you guys could do that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, you guys, you guys are like the family here for Screaming Rebels. We appreciate everything you guys have done for us, and we hope to continue a good business working relationship with you guys.
So we're hoping that we can make this Spanspek a very huge, and one day it'll be bigger than Fuse. So people will be driving out to Orosi instead of Burning Man.
I should emphasize that there's no competition between Spanspek and Fuse. We're friends. Everyone is friends.
Burning Man? Oh, you want to be larger than Burning Man.
I do want to be larger than Burning Man. I want more naked people at our festival than there are at Burning Man.
Hey, that's fine. It's in California.
That's a
you
goal.
know. I think you can do it. And there's a bunch of Orosi sounds like a perfect place to have your own burning. I don't know what it would mean. Burning watermelons.
So since from 2006 to now, has the band set or the band list gotten bigger? Or what was the original, like, how many people did you have originally playing the first festivals and that?
It's gotten slightly bigger. I want to say at the first festival we had maybe 6 bands. We've increased it to 7, which doesn't sound like a lot, obviously, but it actually is, because we've added a second stage, so now there's just continuous music as opposed to a band playing and then a good 15-20 minute break.
See, and I like that. That's really good. And a lot of places don't do that, even when they do have the opportunity. So that's good. I didn't know you guys had 2 stages. All right.
Wait, did you go there last year? Oh, you didn't go last year.
No, I couldn't. I got lost.
Oh.
I couldn't find it. But
So-
now that I know it's an owl, I will remember. I'm gonna look for the
I
owls.
know.
So the plan for
last year was our first year trying that out, 2 stages, and it worked out pretty well. So I'm excited to do that again.
Yeah, so for George not to get lost this year, I had volunteered. I took that day off, and we're probably going to try to have him come in a little bit early. We'll go ahead and do a podcast that day, and then I'll drive him out that way. And we should be. I'm usually like a time stickler anyway, so we should get there on time.
He will. We're late. It's not him. It's me.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so we're not gonna, I can't give him the credit for being late. It's
So
all
yeah,
me.
this one I'll probably take him that way. I'll take him that direction, and
Okay.
guarantee that he will be there for when his band's ready to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, hey, it's 8:00. I'm on my way. Cristobal knows there's a few different stories, but I have shown up late to quite a bit of the shows he puts on normally too, and it has nothing to do with against you.
This is not allowed for Spanspek.
It has everything to do with the time.
Prohibited.
Well, I showed up, I think, to Below Your Records. We played there twice already, and I showed up once. I didn't even get to make it. That's how bad it was. And the second time I showed up late, and you were
And
there.
Ricky started playing for you, and then
He did.
He played, I think, one song, and then
And then he threw a show in
I think you're making Cristobal nervous right now.
No. The towing. Where was the towing shop at?
That was in Danuba. That was Werebear CD release show.
Yeah, but and what city was that?
In Danuba?
Danuba? Okay. And I went with Juan and Jose, and all three of us showed up late, and he was playing the drums that night. Cristobal, like I showed up and I could hear him playing the drums, so I was like, oh man, this is horrible. So, I need to show up on time because my bandmates also get very nervous when I show up late, and when I.
So I will be the chauffeur for Jorge Guzman for this one.
I am gonna hold you to that. We both will. So.
Excellent, awesome.
All right.
So, is there anywhere we can upload any flyers or anything and send them out to our good people over here?
Well, I don't know about uploading flyers, but if you want more information on the festival, you can go over to our website, www.spanspekfestival.com.
Oh, you got a .com?
Yeah, we got that.
That's all fancy.
Moving up, son. Moving up.
We don't even got.
We have a .tk because it's free.
But I wonder what that was. What does TK stand for?
It's a free index from London, I think. All I needed is to be like tied with Al Qaeda or something like that.
Yeah, we don't know. We just use it.
We just use it. It's free.
Oh, okay.
So
you can just go to the website and you can send us an email and we can send you like flyers or whatever, or at least the JPEG or something.
Okay.
All right. Sounds
good.
Yeah,
we're trying to help as much as we can for publicity.
All right, we're gonna try to send some people that way to a Rosie for this festival, and we'd like to thank you for taking the time out of. I know it's a little late. I don't know if you're a late nighter like us.
He's not.
Well, it is a different time zone over here, so
yeah.
All right.
I believe it is in a Rosie. You're in Danuba.
I'm in Danuba now.
Oh, okay.
Was it like a 6-hour difference?
Yeah, he is in Mountain View next to it. So, okay. All right. Well, thank you for being on the show, and we look forward to talking to you soon, and of course seeing you next month in Spanspek.
All
right.
No, thank you guys very much for the opportunity. I'm glad to talk about Spanspek. I should say, the way the microphone is positioned, it's like Hector has a giant metal dick.
I'm not gonna do anything phallic in front of it, so it's not gonna happen.
It's right there.
It's like an HR Geiger
we
type
just
of thing.
put it on you.
There. Where's that? Okay, now it's back.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and for people that don't know, Cristobal's sense of humor, he likes drawing penises as well on windows and everything else.
He likes talking. Yes, he does. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
All right. Good night. He definitely does have a different sense of humor. At the last show, what was it? He was talking about, and I thought of you though, because you're the one who pointed it out. The last time we saw him, when he was talking about like masturbation, talked about it again at the last show. I can't remember why though now, but it was something about
it's a punk thing.
I think no, it's not a punk thing. I'm playing a punk band. We don't talk about that. I think he was talking about the last band and how that drummer was really good and fast. And he goes, he must work his hands out a lot. He must but he goes, he must masturbate a lot. He must be an excellent masturbator. And it was just kind of like, what kind of like I don't know. Like, I was
gonna ask him what Spanspek meant.
Man?
What does it mean?
You can probably look it up. Remember, they got a .com. They're fancy. They got fancy stuff. I bet you they got a bio and everything.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
All right, this concludes our podcast. We'd like to thank everybody. Episode 18. We'll come back with episode 19. We'll talk amongst ourselves and discuss what the next one will be. Be safe and drink beer, but not while driving. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Once you change your philosophy, you change your thought pattern. Once you change your thought pattern, you change your attitude. Once you change your attitude, it changes your behavior pattern. And then you go on into some action.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.